Welcome back to the We Are T1D podcast. You've been waiting for it, guys. We made you wait a whole week this time. But this episode was worth waiting for because this is where we ask Ryan about his reality TV and how he got treated. We ask, what else do we ask, Jack? We ask about his worst hypos.
Yeah.
TikTok, everything.
Yeah.
So, guys, enjoy this one because this being a super long episode actually gave us a week off.
Thank you.
And enjoy.
I heard you sigh when I mentioned reality TV at the beginning, so you can tell me to fuck off with this question.
It's all the thing with reality TV. It's always
Jack was your biggest fan. Can I just say?
It's always the thing with it. It's always cooler to other people, but it's only like when I was doing it, it's like always the best experience. But like after it's always going to be a cringiest thing. I always thought like, do you know what? When you're 60, you can look back and be like, "Oh, I went on this show, and this show." At 60, I'm not doing it. I'm not digging up them old episodes. I'm mortified of like, and it's because you're not the same person you were like on any of them. So.
No, of course. What was like Geordie Shore and that like with type 1 diabetes then? What was it like trying to, because you had some messy nights, man.
Amelia Lily she's type 1 diabetic, and it was essentially, I like to make out that I didn't know I was getting paired up with her. I knew I was getting paired up with her. Essentially, it was meant to be like the ultimate Geordie Shore season. It was meant to be, we're bringing in these people who all have party jobs abroad. So like there was like strippers, dancers, I was a couple of my, it was meant to be, and we're going to go, and it's going to be like, can you hang with the Geordies? And I was like, this sounds like fun, good payouts. And I was like, yeah, we're on it. So come back from Miami, we're waiting, second lockdown hits. And it hits while we're in isolation to go into the show. And they come into your rooms that day and they're like, all right, so you're going to be dating. And I was like, what? I'm dating a girl from like Solihull. And they were like, you better text her. So they told me I was going to be dating Amelia. So obviously it shows how real reality TV is. They told me I'd be dating Amelia. They said like, find some things you like about her. Googled her quickly. Obviously knew her from X Factor ages ago. Googled her quickly, worked out she's type 1 diabetic. I was like, oh, that's my immediate in. I didn't tell them that was one of the reasons. But I gave them like 4 or 5 reasons. I think it was mainly like, I fancied her when she's on X Factor, even though I was well young at that point. So then we get in there, and it gets brought with diabetic, and Will I talking for about an hour on it, and it's actually pretty cool, like speaking to another person. Because at that point, I don't think I'd even met like Molly yet. So I'd been on dates with type 1s by accident in my teen years. Like I would show up on a date, find out I was type 1. I was like, that's a bit mad. But I'd never spoke to a type 1 like in a non-date situation. I guess this was technically meant to be a date. But yeah, so me and me spent this whole date speaking about type 1 diabetes. Producers looked raging, and I was like, why are they not liking this? I thought that was quite interesting. Me was like, by the way, none of that date is airing. I was like, why? And she's like, because they can't speak about a medical condition on a reality TV show. And at the time I made videos before I even made this TikTok. It's annoying because this video was crazy viral and I should have made it on my current TikTok. I made it on my old one talking about how Geordie Shore wouldn't speak about it. It got turned into like news articles in the Daily Mail and everything like that. And like they made it look like I was really mad at Geordie Shore. Now I 100% get it. Like after making a TikTok for 1 year, and I realised like how uptight some people are about type 1 diabetes. If me and Amelia had sat there talking about type 1 diabetes, and then that night we were the two messiest people at that party that night, which we were like falling all over each other. There would have been complaints to MTV about us too, like, oh, it's a bad example and stuff, because people are really that uptight about type 1 diabetes. So
yeah, that is true.
In terms of managing on the show, like I did I have a sensor at that point? No, I didn't have a sensor. No, because I'd been abroad, so I didn't have a sensor. I was just finger pricking, and like, my readings weren't good. I just had sepsis, so my blood sugars were awful. I was still recovering from it.
Shit. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had a blood infection right before I went on the show, and so yeah, it was really bad. But I don't know, like I just sort of survived, and obviously they knew how to deal with diabetes. Like, it was easy to get your injection and stuff like that. It was easy if they kept your hypo stuff somewhere. So it is always calm. Reality TV shows are really good about type 1 diabetes. It's just that they're not going to talk about it. And do you know what? Type 1 diabetics have sort of ruined it for themselves from being uptight.
Yeah.
Because if we're more relaxed and got behind people
Yeah.
and didn't complain about stupid stuff. I also think it's parents type ones that would be the ones to complain. It'd be like, oh, well, my 14-year-old watched them too, and now looks up to them because he's diabetic as well. But look how messy they were at that party. Like, guess what? Your 14-year-old's going to be messier than us one day. Like, he's going to get drunk at some point in his life. It's going to happen.
It's life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly. And do you know what? That's why, and it was more at the start when I first started making TikTok content. That's what, I'm not really partying much of the minute and stuff. I'm sort of out of it. It's what happens when you get into a relationship, I guess. but a lot of my early videos were about like, oh, how I deal with partying and diabetes, how I deal with this and diabetes, because it's stuff like that's what people generally argue. Like, it's not always going to be, oh, I hit the gym 5 times a week and I eat this really strict meal plan. Like, it's not.
Did you have any like seriously bad hypos while partying? I'm curious.
I don't want to go into specifically what I took. What, as in on Geordie Shore or?
No, in general.
Yeah, so I have this vivid memory. So I was in IB, you know, like I said, I only tested. So I've survived like 5 months out here. And do you know what's crazy? About a month before I went out there, my hypo awareness was...
I like the way you say I survived.
Yeah, because I was... it was essentially, you were balancing drugs like the Wolf of Wall Street, and I was testing once a day, which is awful, and I don't know how I did it, and I can only say that I was lucky. But about a month before I went out there, my hyper awareness was shot, and I was having an ambulance call out, and my mum was like, you cannot go to Ibiza and stay there when you can't say hyper, you're not waking up in your sleep, but you've done that for 9 years, you've always sensed on what's went wrong. So I'm panicking, so I'm thinking they're going to ruin my big summer. So I'm buying all these online blood tests and stuff. Luckily find out that like I actually was low on like vitamin B12, low on iron. Quickly went and got shots of that, like injections of it. And the next day, I remember going low and I started sweating, could sense it straight away. And I was like, that is crazy. Like, and that's why I've always said, like, you probably got some sort of vitamin deficiency if you don't essential hypos. Like, that's why I did a collab with Medichecks recently talking about getting your vitamins tested.
Do you know what? I saw that, and like, is that actually beneficial? Because I've been thinking about doing that for ages.
I mean, it depends if there's a problem. So if you think there's something like, I mean, I'm not going to say every single person needs a hormone test or anything like that, but like for me, I keep track of it a lot for fitness goals. I like to, and after sepsis, I had a lot of issues with my pituitary gland, basically ruined my hormone levels. So I had like higher estrogen than I had testosterone for about 6 months, which was, that was fun. That was fun trying to stay in shape. Wow. So I keep track of it for that. But I mean, the vitamin one, I purely say it because there's so many people who are terrified of hypos. They're terrified of hypos. I always say, go and get a couple of these vitamins tested. And a lot of them you can just get in your regular diabetes blood test, but no one actually asks for the forms after so they can look at them. Because if you're heading towards deficient, then you're still in range to the doctors, but that could be what's causing your hypo awareness to be rubbish. So yeah, iron, vitamin B12, vitamin D, these are quite big ones. A lot of them are on your regular panel. So you can just ask and get it checked, definitely. I like to do more in-depth panels, and it depends on sort of what your goals are. But anyway, so luckily I've survived 5 months testing once a day. My hypo awareness is working, Ibiza and stuff like that. A big thing, we used to be out all day. We used to be working on the beach all day. We'd go and party all night at the club, the events that we're promoting. And we'd have to we'd have to call it, we'd have an afters. We'd call it at like between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. because we had to be up about 1 p.m. And what we used to do is to take sleepers to get to bed, which obviously I don't recommend it when you're diabetic. You're not going to wake up.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Oh.
Not as in a regular sleeping pill, it'd be like diazepam or Xanax. So very stupid. So I remember putting one on my mouth, knowing that I was going to be knocked out, and my mates were going to wake me up like an alarm at like 1 because we had to start working. And I remember as I was doing it, I remember being like, "These I ain't tested in ages, man." But as I put it on my mouth, I was like, I'll just quickly finger prick. So I was 3.9, but we had just been like dancing, partying, bouncing around the club for hours. Hadn't had anything when I got back. Like that was going to tank. And I've just put something in my mouth that was going to put me to bed for hours. Like, if no one woke, like we knew we were getting up at 1, but in the next couple of hours, I could have been dead. And I remember like just pacing myself to there, and I went and grabbed a Magnums, really had some ice cream. But yeah, that was like the one time that I was like, wow, like, in our beef. And it's, I say I had a realization I didn't, because I still, for 3 more years, I was still reckless when I was out there. But that was the first time I was sitting there. I was like, whoa.
You had a half an epiphany.
Yeah. Well, do you know what it was? Like, one of our mates had like a bloody like hand, like something weird happening to the day before, and he had what is like went to like shock, and we thought it was from partying too much, and he's like, his head's all bloody because he's fitting on the floor and stuff.
Oh wow.
And we're like, whoa, like, we're gonna die doing these 5 minutes out here. Like, it was the first time I saw it hit me, and then I was like, and my mate sort of convinced me, he's like, the problem with Tony is like, he's not like healthy, he's and trained stuff like that. Me and you stayed on top of our health all summer. Yeah. It's fine. And then that night, that happened. And I was like, oh wow, nah, like, I'm gonna die. Like, we can, like, this is seriously dangerous what we're doing to ourselves. So yeah, I had like half an epiphany, and I think to the end of that season, we were in the closing stretch. It was like 2 weeks left. I was a bit more on top of my blood sugars and stuff, and that was the sort of last time I ever took that sleepers or anything like that. So yeah. I mean, I've got like, it's always stuff that I want to make videos about. And I guess it's best we got a podcast because it's like, it's not going straight on my channel. I've always been wants to be more open about stuff I've done in the past, and I think it will be perceived wrong.
Yeah,
I can't tell if it will be perceived as because it's definitely like I'm not promoting it or anything like that. But I don't know if people will be like, well, why are you even talking that you survive, or whether people then take my opinions less, because obviously I give out lots of educational stuff, and they're like, well, this kid was used to be a bloody drug addict. Like, yeah. I mean, so it's like, I've always been sort of hesitant to even mention all the stupid stuff I did in my early 20s, because I don't know how to frame it, as in like, I've done that with diabetes, this is why I don't think it's a smart idea. If you're going to do it because some of you are, this is how the approach I'll take with it. I've always been, I think one day I'll be able to be more open with it. Yeah. At the minute, obviously, when I'm just keep trying to build the page and keep it as educational as possible, I think it would actually hurt me to be as honest about stuff as possible. But even then, so the way I did all that stuff is the same way I did the fitness stuff. Like, I was typing in how every single drug affected your diabetes. I knew if a drug raised your blood sugar, I wasn't touching that. You know, I didn't care if it knocked me out and put me unconscious, but if it's raising my blood sugar, I'm not touching that. I did, like I said, I was even when I was an absolute idiot with my health, I always had the science nerd version to me.
Yeah, no, it's good to research, isn't it?
Not the stuff you would expect, but yeah. So, but that was probably my closest call. I've never actually had that bad hypos and I think typically it's because, like, I think they're fairly easy to like spot and stuff like that. I think, and obviously, I think they're quite easy to treat. Like a cocktail will bring you up just as fast as Haribo will. So even if you can't get hold of, like, say you're in a situation like when I was younger, you only got so many pockets in your jeans. I wasn't bringing my finger prick out. I wasn't bringing my injection, my wallet, keys, and hypo sweets. I was bringing literally keys, bank card, injection. So I was going down to them free. So it's like you had to find ways that it's like, well, if I sense a low when I'm out, how are we treating it? And obviously a good way is just a sugary drink. So,
So what's your go-to hypo treat now?
Yeah, I think I'm very different. I like the little small bags of Haribos, but I feel like I've never seen anyone online use them except me.
I use them. I've just never put anything online. I love the little bags of Haribo.
I mean, I enjoy it. Like, I've never been a juice person and stuff like that. And I do it because it's like, in the day, it like, I sort of have my day set up, like I said, totally routine. I sort of have my day set up that, like, if a hypo is to happen, I sort of know when it's going to be. It'll be like after gym, where I'm already going to eat after gym. If it's going to be after my walk in the morning, where I'm already going to eat after that point. So the main time my hypo sweets essentially come in handy would be obviously in the car, but during the night. And if I brush my teeth, like, apple juice ain't slapping after brushing your teeth, man. So.
I've done it. It's not nice.
Yeah, so Haribo's slap no matter what. It's just it's always hard to only have the one bag. But I've pretty much, that's another thing. I sort of know exactly how much they bring me up. Like if I'm 3.7, I'll pretty much go up to 6.7. They bring me up pretty much free no matter the small bag. So it's good.
I've actually weighed out the small bags, and I'm sure they're like 10, 15 grams.
Yeah, it's like there's barely any sweets in there, yeah. But I mean, with it, that's why I like not swapping. It's another thing that I'll just learn. If I do the same thing, if I'm more consistent with that, if my hypo treatment is always the same, I always know what it's going to bring me up to based on what my blood sugars are.
Yeah.
Actually, talking of weighing, obviously Jack weighs everything. I don't. Are you a guesstimator or do you weigh?
So because I eat meal plans in the day, I'll say it's hard. If I'm obviously if you're out for that, you're guesstimating. The dinner that I cook, like I'm cooking mine and my girlfriend's at once, so I'm not weighing my portion, because even if I weighed it all out, you're not going to split it totally even or anything like that. So I just think it's a bit of a way. I guesstimate some meals. The meals that I eat sort of rigid, where it's like I'm going to have the same breakfast every day, I'm going to have the same lunch every day. They're not weighed out, but they are weighed out. So it's like 2 packets of oats is going to be this many carbs according to the back of the nutritional label. Weighing out is good, but the nutritional labels are allowed to be 20% off. So if you've got like multiple forms of carbohydrates in a meal, say you've got like garlic bread and chips, well, you could be nearly 40% off on the amount of carbs between the two.
That's a very good point.
And you gotta think like how strict are the food and house standards. I definitely think when I'm more into fitness and stuff, I sort of weigh my food just because it's a bit easier. But I think as long as you're in the ballpark, you're doing all right. It's not like 5 grams of carbs. Being off 5 grams of carbs is making your blood sugars awful. Yeah, you might be wanting them all higher, but it's not the reason you're 15.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Yeah.
And we can always correct.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think you want to make my biggest thing at the minute, which is a big thing about like the people who were talking about eating like a rigid meal plan. There's like, oh, you want to be able to just look at a plate, and no, you want to be able to weigh out stuff and then just adjust your insulin to however many carbs it is. And like, I did all that ages ago, and the only reason that I eat the same thing is because I want to make my life with diabetes as easy as possible. Like, I don't want to be thinking about it. You see that thing on Instagram, it went quite viral not long ago. Suppose this girl does these little art pictures and it has like a stat about diabetes on. I do question where she gets these stats from, but and it said like a type 1 diabetic thinks about their blood sugar like 350 times a day, or thinks about their condition 350 times a day. And I had to sit there and be like, oh, I definitely don't. Like, just thinking about that.
This is funny. This is funny. Have you seen the 180 decisions a day?
Oh, God. Well, this was double that. This is another girl that I even made a video. I decided to be nice. 180. But, I mean, what's the decision? Because a decision is, I'm injecting this much insulin. But that's not like a hard thought for me. That's just, it's in my brain that, I'm eating 40 grams of carbs. I'm injecting this much insulin. Like, that's not, it makes it sound so much worse online. Oh, you've got to make 100. It's like 180 tough decisions a day. It's simple math, man. But did we not do GCSEs? Tell me we did SATs.
I see. I actually argued it. I tracked every decision I made.
Did you? That's really interesting.
I remember. You done a whole episode on it.
Yeah, I was pissed off. I think I got to 50. I think
50 is fair, and that's including like, because I don't include flicking over onto my Libra 2 when I'm already on my phone anyway. I don't.
Oh no, I include that. I included it.
See, I don't include anything that, because I guess that's seeing it as, and that's why I think this girl's newly diagnosed. I see it as a blessing that before I would have had to pull out a kit, stab my finger out. Like, essentially wouldn't want to do that in the middle of work when I'm trying to sell people stuff. So I'd have to go off to another room, do all this. And I'm like, so I don't even, there's so many things that I don't count as a decision diabetes-wise, because it's like a blessing because of how it was before. But even if you counted absolutely everything, it's nowhere close to 180. I'm
trying to think. You know, if you go out for a run, is it a decision to put on trainers?
Exactly. You do it, because if not, your feet are fucked. So yeah, exactly. And that's what I think that she's literally putting in every single thing. Like, if you can include stuff that's not even really related to diabetes, but is like, if I go to bed bad, guess what? I'm going to probably have a better cortisol spike tomorrow, so I'll be more balanced. But I'm going to bed early because I'm tired. I'm not going to bed for that reason. You can obviously come up with absolute lies to get that number up to that, and that's where I don't know. Do you guys like the people who like really really overplay how hard it is to live with a condition? Because I do think it's really hard.
No.
I don't like seeing other people say how hard it is. I don't know why it is. I can't really work it out. I think it's because I'm like, do you not think like it's hard for everyone. Because I think by the way, the hard videos, the toughest stuff, if you're a new diabetic content creator, here's a cheat code for you. If you post anything negative about the condition, it's going to get 10 times the views of something good. So if you say, my pump failed, my CGM's not working, Lever 2s will kill you, anything like that, my old type of content, it will outperform the rest. And then everyone does what they do when they want views. They see what else is doing well and they do similar stuff. And I think because of that, there's quite a toxic culture of like really just focusing on the bad stuff with diabetes. And it's not a great condition. I don't think anyone, but like, it's like, I think I got over having it so long ago that it's like, obviously we'd probably all accept getting a cure, but I mean, it would be weird to not feel like, I feel like I would have to start a couple more businesses or something because I'd have so much brain power like not having this diabetes thing like in your life. Like I don't think I feel it's always better to focus on the positive, and I feel there's so few creators doing that.
Yeah, and that's do you know that was I think that's what turned me into such a stressor when I was first diagnosed, because like you say, that is pretty much the only stuff out there that's available unless you really dig.
Yeah, you've got to dig. Yeah, and like I said, even if you go onto TikTok and type in type 1 diabetes, it's going to show the best performing videos ever. Like, so then the problem is, like I said, the negative stuff always does better because it's more shocking, and then so that's all going to be the top of your list. Then I bet there's a whole lot of diabetics who probably downloaded TikTok for the first time, wanting to find people like them. And then they searched it and they're like, well, this is depressing. Like, and then probably never decided to not follow any diabetic creators because the first search they would have done would have been all the worst ones that have the most views.
Yeah. That's very true. That's how the world is now, though. They love negative shit.
I mean,
it drives me mad.
It's the news, ain't it? It's like, what was the worst thing you could do during COVID? It was turn on the news because it was going to be something bad every day. And then ever since, they've never had the same TV ratings because they've never been able to produce something as shocking as you could die any minute. Like they've never been able to reach that. And like
there's no toilet paper, guys.
Yeah, exactly. They're trying so hard to claw back. But they've never been able to get anywhere close to that. But it's a shame. It's like, like I said, all you can do is try and do what you can do in the space. I think, like I said, podcasts are great for it. I love what you're doing. Yeah, I just think I wish there was more people with a sort of a mindset to try and focus on the positive, because it's a rough condition, man. We all get it's like any of us love it, and we're all like, but God, the amount of things in life that could be so much worse than having type 1 diabetes. Like, we are so blessed in some ways.
Yeah, it's our niche.
Yeah, it's our niche. This is our thing with the positive diabetics. God, you have to start these podcasts. We are the only ones.
There ain't many, no.
No, there ain't. That's what spurred us to start this. Like, it was because I think Mike got sick of me asking him questions all the time.
How do you guys know each other then? Did you know way before social media and stuff? Did you know each other?
Yeah,
or was it...
so we used to work together when I was 16.
Yeah.
And then we sort of, like, obviously I left the job, Mike left the job, and we sort of didn't really talk a lot for quite a few years. Well, like nearly 10, 15 years pretty much.
Yeah.
And then obviously I got my diagnosis, and I remember the first morning I woke up, it just clicked in my head. Like, shit, I remember this guy who was injecting in the staff room. Like, I need to message him now, like, straight away. And I still had his number. I text him like, Mike, I've got diabetes. Like, what the fuck do I do, bruv?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, that's good. That's good. I always think, like, I never mentioned it at school because I bet there's loads of people that I never knew had it. I just hid it from everyone. It was just easier. But I bet there's loads of people that I was the only one at my secondary school. I bet you there's a few diagnosed since. I always wonder, like, if they knew, they'd probably reach out to us. Like, but it's always hard, if someone comes at you. The hardest thing is to give advice on something when you don't know their full situation. And also, if you have sort of different levels of knowledge on it. So like, I had a woman the other day, I get this constantly where it's like, I'm like this insulin resistant, like what sort of my doctors won't help me, my nurse won't help me. And I went through like I have a basic rule for if they mess with you about insulin resistance. I have like 3 things I ask them. And the third one is like, what are the medications you're on? And she listed 3. I just said type, and I knew because I'd had someone mess with me about it before. I said type all 3 of them into Google and type insulin sensitivity after. all three of them cause insulin resistance. She was on like beta blockers for her heart. She's on something else, and it was all stuff that caused insulin resistance. So I was like, well, that's why your carb ratio is like literally 1 unit for 1 gram of carbs. So you can speak to your doctor and say, is this more damaging, the fact that I'm having to take crazy amount of insulin? Like when she was messaging me, I literally was thinking about it. Like we were out having dinner and I was getting like pasta or something. I was thinking in my head, if this woman ate this pasta, she'd be injecting 60 units of fast acting insulin right now. Like that's mental.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's mad.
So I'm like, the fact that you, one, got put on insulin and they didn't tell you about this, but two, you need to just go to a doctor now. But it almost is like, she never thought to do that. I don't know if it's because that my thing has always been research anything before you put it in your body. That's always been my thing. Yeah. But like, I was just like, mate, the first 3 medications you sent me, all 3 of them caused bad insulin resistance. So yeah, it's hard giving advice to people if you're on sort of different knowledge about a condition. So it's good that he's bonded over that, I guess.
Yeah, and it was just like, as I say, I just, like, Mike must have just got the ump with me, because I literally, how many times a day did I used to send you screenshots of my graph, send you pictures like, what do I inject for this, bruv? Like, how do I work this out? I'm going low, what do I do? I'm going high, what do I do?
And I'm like, just eat it, find out what happens.
Yeah, literally, that's what he just kept saying, like, just do it, bro. You're not going to find out until you go through it.
And that's what it meant. It's try, and it's the same thing I said about the CGM on the bum, the injecting in different areas. It's trial and error. Like if you inject in a certain area, or if you inject for a meal and 2 hours later it's not enough, like you don't die from one bad reading, man. Like you learn.
Nah,
and then,
see, that's what I thought. That's what was driven into my head. That was like, if I go high, I'm going to end up back in hospital. Fucking like it's. But yeah, I
mean, it's crazy because. I mean, I feel like they keep the knowledge on this down because they don't want diabetics realizing that, like, the high blood sugar obviously does all the damage long term to you. But you know this thing about like DK is a lack of insulin being in your body. It's never been high blood sugar. The reason we all go into DK before we get diagnosed is because our bodies stopped producing insulin a long time ago. So it's like, even if you're high but you're injecting insulin, you're fine. When I had not long ago, I mean, speaking of reality TV, I'll give you the scoop. I was actually meant to be on a reality show in June. I was out in Mykonos to film it, and the day it was meant to start shooting, my blood sugars had been horrendous, like the week before, and the only thing I could pull it to was that I had been dieting so hard and training crazy. It was probably the best shape I've been in quite a few years. And I was like, and now you've put me for 3 weeks, you've sat me in a hotel room, I literally had nothing to do but edit or TikTok. So I thought maybe that was the reason. But I am piling through insulin. And I literally was like to one of the day, I was like, honestly, I feel so ill. Like, I know you're going to send me in today. Can I just get someone to look at me? Because I haven't got enough insulin to last me the next month out here. So I'm going to get parents to ship out here. Can I just speak to a doctor? Got a medical when I was out there. They were like, something wrong with your kidney. Ended up having a kidney infection. So I couldn't do the show. So I ended up coming home.
Wow.
Coming home, straight away went to hospital, ended up having kidney stones at the same time, went and got looked at, and obviously I was dosing crazy amounts of insulin, but my blood sugars were unreadable almost, and they were like, we just got to test you for ketones, 0.0. Like, I mean, blood sugars were in the phase, they had been for days, but I've been injecting insulin. So you know what I mean? The people but I think they almost want you to think that high blood sugar causes ketones because obviously it's going to scare people into focusing more on their blood sugars. But you shouldn't have to do that. Yeah. Like if you educate everyone properly, if you educate people properly, it's on them to take it in or they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Exactly that. That's why a diabetic should be the diabetes doctor. Simple.
I mean, if it paid well, what's the pay? What's the pay? But also, I could be asked for 10 years at uni or whatever it is. And that's the crazy thing. They do so much, but I wonder how much. I've always wondered this. I've heard from nurses, because one of my friends is a diabetic nurse. She says the actual stuff is general health stuff, and the actual specifics of diabetes is it's so little on actual diabetes, and that's a lot more on diet and stuff, which is crazy because the diets they recommend they've always been weird and a bit out there. Yeah. So if it's so little based on the science of diabetes and how the body works with insulin and stuff like that, then why are they the doctors, and why have they just spent 10 years to be the specialists when they've actually only probably focused on diabetes for a small portion of them 10 years?
Yeah.
It's very true. Very, very true.
Did you ever see your diabetes like taking you where you are now? Like the opportunities you've had that come off the back of just making content for things like that and the things you've done. Did you ever think that anything like that would happen?
Well, when I first started posting, so TikTok's a bit weird now. When you post, it used to do a thing which is really smart because it's the only reason I kept posting. You would get fake boosts on your first few videos. So like your first few videos, as long as they weren't like trash, like, and you know what, I take that back. Mine were trash. Like if you search, I don't know if you can do it. If you go on my TikTok, scroll all the way to bar, I tell you all day. They are awful. It's me stabbing myself with a pen, but doing like quick, like rubbish edits and stuff like that. And they were all just popping. Like they were like first 2 videos they did like 4 million. I was thinking, I'm gonna be like the king of type 1 diabetes. I would be like, if this lasts forever, I'm gonna be like the Kim Kardashian type 1 diabetes. But yeah, obviously very quickly it stops happening. But it's good that it did that because it sort of gave you something to encourage on, and then you carry on trying to make content and after that. And I feel like now it's the opposite. Now it doesn't really give you, obviously you can still do a viral video at the start, but it's a lot harder to go viral. But yeah, because I had that at the start, I would have like loads of confidence. Like, but like, if I watch back any of my videos, you know, people sometimes you see they post on this day videos, and it was what they posted a year ago today, and they'll post it on their stories and stuff. I wish I could do that, but every time I see one of them videos, I'm like, you are so boring. Like, you cannot talk, Brian. Sure. And like, at the time, I thought I was creating great content. so like, I guess it was just, I honestly think it was the fact that TikTok sort of gave you a boost at the start to encourage you to keep creating, basically. And so I sort of had the confidence. I was like, I always thought like, do you know what? I feel like I'd be able to do good stuff with brands. I've always liked video editing and stuff. Whereas like now, like I said, I'm sort of different. Whereas like, I wouldn't want to work with anyone. I was lucky with Sibionics that they didn't check my social media because I never want to be stuck. Like, for example, that reality TV show that I was just about to do, I was going to do it all on my own social media before they did, and I had to delete some. There was a video where I talked about like sniffer dogs smelling insulin and stuff like that. And I made a joke that like, of course, when I was younger, I didn't have any drugs on me, and I winked at the camera. But it was like a sniffer dog smelling insulin, so I'd always get strip search before a festival. And I'd like delete videos like that, and I remember being like, oh, like shut up, like why am I doing this? But there's generally, if you work with like Dexcom, I'm sure they're a lot more on top of your socials. And so my goal has always been to get to the point where I can be like as honest as possible about like anything that's happening in my life and my socials. So I'd never work with any. I would never. If people want to collab, obviously collab. As long as it's like, I'm not recommending trash. That's a big thing. Like, I can't lie, man. Like, I can't lie, and I feel like it's just like.
That's always been our biggest thing as well. Like, we try and keep it as real as possible.
And it's so valuable. Like, I always think, because I luckily did 4 months of like testing sensors and slating them, because I was like literally I was wearing all these sensors, testing them against you and being like, oh, well, this one that's who was some of these brands? Cinecare said me it's more accurate than my Libra 2, but look how accurate it is compared to my test kit. Slated all these brands for so long that when I finally got that Sibionic on, I thought it would just be exactly the same. Thought I'd do one collab with them, never wear them again. When I put it on, I was like, wait, the finger prick is exactly the same as my sensor? Like, what is going on? I think like it's because then because you've been real for so long, even though other people's their Libra 2 might be just as accurate as their finger prick, for me it was like, wow, I finally found a sensor. So I think all them sort of videos did well. I think that's the most important thing. I've never wanted to I always think if I just want to make money from TikTok, I wouldn't do TikTok because essentially the amount of time and hours I've put in the last 2 years on TikTok, if I did any other job on the side, I would have made on minimum wage. I would have made way more than I've made from doing TikTok. So it's not, that's where I think in my head it's not, you can't look here like, oh, I just want to make money. But getting the chance to collaborate with like really cool brands, and like I said, at the time being able to test out new stuff that other diabetics can get their hands on, and being able to do like, oh, this is what the needle-free injections are, this is what this new CGM is. I think that's really cool. I think the best thing that's come from TikTok is meeting a diabetic. So speaking to diabetics on the daily is really cool. And I think I enjoy the community. I enjoy because I talk so much about it. I focus on my own diabetes so much more, which then in turn makes me like want to do it more. So I've always felt like if I ever went totally off talking about diabetes, for example, if I went down the fitness route with this coaching and I was like, you know what, I can make more money coaching regular people, so I'm going to make a new TikTok where it's just about gym. I honestly think like within a couple of months, I'd notice it on my HbA1c. I'd notice it. I think because I'm always talking about diabetes and best things you can do, best things to try, I'm trialing them all myself. So then I'm trying to make my own diabetes better, because before I posted about diabetes online, my diabetes weren't good. So it's sort of like by talking about it so much, I'm feeling like if you're in the position where you're giving advice, you need to know what you're doing. You need to have your own stuff under control. But also just because you're talking about it so much, you're thinking about it more. So I think that's the thing that I've benefited most. The collabs of definitely last year, the collabs were all fun. It was cool being sent a load of tech when the only thing that I knew I could get from the hospital was a Libre 2, and for some reason it wasn't working for me. It was cool then being like, oh wow, because of this TikTok, I get the chance to try 3 new sensors a month. Like I can literally try every single one of them in a few months. So
that's wicked. You got any questions? You got any ones?
No, because Ryan talks very well.
Yeah, man. I honestly, it's one of my. You can see the salesman in me. I can ramble. Is a problem.
I've already ordered a sensor from Symbiotics.
Jack signed up for coaching. Michael's got a Symbiotics.
That's what he's done. He's come on here and done a sales pitch. He's fucking nabbed us both, and now he's going to leave us.
Yeah, it's a yearly subscription. Oh god, it's been fun. I won't keep you all night. I've just realised what time it is. It's quite late.
Oh shit, this is nearly 2 hours. I've got to edit this. God. Fuck.
How long you got?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I looked at the time and thought,
I better wrap
this up now. And it's been really nice to have you on, Ryan. Like, we really, really appreciate you coming on as well and hearing all of your stories and everything.
It's been good, boys. It's been good. Hopefully we can do something with a big meet up next year. We'll make sure
it needs to happen. I think Ruby spoke about it as well, so it definitely needs to happen.
100%, we'll get it sorted.
It'll be London though, yeah.
Oh god, yeah. I'm not.
I don't want to go to the city of villains.
We don't. I don't like leaving my house, mate. I'll make an exception. At least it's a decent night out in London.
Yeah, that's good. That's cool. But yeah, we'll definitely make that. So yeah, thank you very much, and big round of applause for Ryan, everyone. Thank you very much.
Cheers, boys.
There you go. What's your socials so they can follow the TikTok that you spoke about?
I'm sure about that. So it's Ryan T1D on TikTok and Ryan CB Taylor on Instagram. Don't really talk about diabetes on Instagram. Maybe one day we'll get there, but yeah.
Oh no, you don't, do you?
Yeah, do you know, obviously when we did like the symbiotic stuff, I'll post it. Obviously it's quite cool, but do you know what it is? Obviously everyone on TikTok has chosen to follow me because I posted about diabetes from the start. Not like everyone on my Instagram I met in Ibiza. I met thinking like I said, I was that reckless that I could have been living with someone and they wouldn't have known I was diabetic. I've just been constantly spamming Instagram with it. Like if anything, I'd make a new Instagram and do it, but for now it's TikTok for now.
Well, there you go. His Instagram is his personal account.
don't annoy me.
Yeah, so go and follow the TikTok. Honestly, Ryan, it's been brilliant. Thank you very much, mate. And yeah, we'll catch up soon.
Catch you later, man.
Sweet, bro.
Thanks, mate. See ya.